My name is Dee. I'm the Global Community Love Manager for Genius Cafe. Our company is actually global. We just got public a few months ago. It is called Entrepreneur Resorts, and we are building a network of 50 beach clubs, 5 resorts around the world, and we're focusing on passion-driven entrepreneurs. And our idea is to create a big community of like really amazing people who want to change the world. And we basically building up spaces for them to connect, because online is always great, but you need to provide people with really amazing places to connect and do all the amazing events and programs. We run business accelerator programs. They're called iLab, if you don't know. We do them here at Vision Villa Resort in Gianyar. It's 20 minutes from here. We also do them in South Africa. We just bought a resort in South Africa. It's called Tau, and it's a really beautiful place, and it's focused on entrepreneurship as well as raising awareness about extinction of animals in Africa. So it's basically a preservation center for elephants, lions, and it's really beautiful. And we're going to sign up Thailand soon, maybe in the beginning of next year. So our next beach club will be in Thailand. And if you have any beautiful locations, paradise locations where we can open our resorts, let us know. You can always find me here. And every Tuesday we organize Genius Talks, basically invited amazing and successful entrepreneurs who have amazing stories to share, or maybe failures to share with our members, guests. And today we have Martin, and I think I need to read it to you, because the blurb that he sent is pretty amazing. Okay, take a dose of Austro-Germanic Austro-Germanic straightforwardness and a hint of English humor, some American yes we can attitude, a passion for purpose-driven businesses and value-based branding, mixed in love with Italian food, Russian music. Why? And fancy electric cars, but thank you for that. I'm from Russia. Finish it off with some enthusiastic storytelling and never-ending optimism. Plus, not to forget, the immaculate hairstyle. Voila, this is Martin. Please give warm welcome to Martin.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yay, let's play together. Thank you, Dee, for the introduction. My name is Martin. I think I'm pretty much everything she said, because I wrote it myself. So there's the humor. Thank you very much. For you folks in the back, come on. Bring the pizza. I can carry it for you if needed. Is that a mm-hmm? And everybody else, just come on in. Like, you know, it's if you ever given a talk and there's people sitting with their back to you, or like, this is basically karma now. You can make up for your public speaking karma by coming closer or coming to the front. Join us. We got a presentation. Okay, the karma. There it goes. So, I put a slideshow together. Not for the first time in my life, but I think it's the first time I'm actually using one, because usually they are, you know, those kind of slide decks, they've got like an essay on it, and rather than looking at the presenter, you're just reading what they're saying. It doesn't make any sense. So I thought, like, I'm trying not to do that today. Dee invited me to do something here. I just now realized that she said, like, she wants amazing people with amazing success and amazing entrepreneurship. I was a little, and what? And amazing failures. Oh yeah, then I'm right here. Okay, cool. That's sorted then. Okay, I belong. I feel at home now. Any entrepreneurs here? Anybody who runs a business? Pizza friend over there? What'd you do? No, with the full mouth. Yeah. Coaching? Cool. Anything else? There were a couple of hands up there. Who runs a business? What do you do? Consulting. Sir?
I'm developing an app for sustainability.
An app?
Personal app for sustainability.
Cool. So, thank you for sharing. When I came up with the title, she asked me if I want to talk about Amazon and an Amazon business, so I disappoint you a little bit. I don't want to. Am I going already? Is that cool? Did you want to? Okay. Okay, cool. So, we're starting now. Go. Unplanned success. I was thinking, like, what really success? And I realized, everything pretty much my whole life has been unplanned. If you told me 3 years ago what I'm going to be doing now, it was like crazy. If it was a couple of years before, it was the same thing. I never knew what was going to come, and it was always beyond my imagination. And so I was talking to my friend Rob the other day, and we said, like, is there such a thing as planned success? Because it's the opposite of that. It's planned success. And I think, again, a question for you guys who run a business. Did you know 2 years ago that you were going to be doing what you're doing right now? Anybody? Sort of. See, there's the exception. You just proved the rule for me. Thank you very much. So, I think most of the stuff that happens is really unplanned, and I like that concept, so I want to share with you today what I did, and I didn't do it alone, I did it with a couple of partners. And it's not really like a structure, it is a structured talk, but it's not like a structured takeaway of do this. I really want to focus on the soft skills behind it and more the mindset really, and the things that I thought are important. And I think there's a couple, preparing the talk, I kind of reflected into it, like, okay, what are the takeaways that are sort of universal? And that's what I really want to share with you. And going at it, I want to share a little bit about myself, so you know who you're dealing with, talk a little bit about our company without making it spammy or anything like that, just to give you an idea of background, and then dig into my most important takeaways. Are we ready? Are we ready? Yes. Yeah. And I just before I thought it was a little scary. Like, it was kind of full in the afternoon here, and then the closer it got to 4 o'clock, the more people started leaving. I was like, okay, it's gonna be me and my posse. Like, it's just 3 people, and I'm still gonna rock this thing. And I realized, do a talk 20 minutes away from where you live. Make sure you've got bad weather and you know who your friends are. I love you, Ivor. And everybody else, thank you for coming. I appreciate that. Cool. Next slidos. That clicker works really good. Huh. Is it working? Okay, cool. Once upon a time, that is my slide deck. Once upon a time, I'm going to start, I really do that. Once upon a time, there was an anthropologist slash biologist slash philosopher, and she met with a owner of 2 software companies who was friends with a consultant slash marketing guy who was affiliated with a brand or business strategist, and naturally they created a cosmetic company together, because that's what came out of that. So much for the planned part. So what we did, it's a true story, that's what's happening, that's what I'm going to be talking about. We're 4 partners, and we started a cosmetic company, and it was, yeah, it's a little bit of a fairy tale, I gotta say. Before that, I want to talk a little bit about myself. So let's try the clicker again. This works great. Me. I was born in Austria. Until I was 20, I had no freaking clue what I wanted to do with my life. Once I hit 20, I still had no clue what I wanted to do with my life, but I had a little bit more of an idea. So initially I dug into graphic design. Are any creative people here? Any designers of sorts? One? Great. You're going to relate to those stories, so I'm going to be talking to you from now on. When I started off graphic designing, is that a word? When I was starting off doing graphic design, I had this vision of grandeur, of like, it's going to be me and the big entrepreneurs, and they're going to come to me and they're going to come with a plan and an idea, and I'm going to visualize the whole thing, and it's going to be fantastic. We're going to put stuff together and we're all going to love it and we're going to rock it. Reality was people came, were underfunded, stressed, and had no clue what they wanted, and yet they knew really a lot about graphic design, because everything needs to be big on a poster, including the date and the venue. And it wasn't exactly what I had envisioned. So I moved on into branding. It was like, okay, branding, you already got a bigger picture, and then it's much easier if you got a brand strategy and a kind of an idea what you want to lay out. Dug into branding, realizing I don't want to generalize, it's my experience of my clients. Most people didn't have any clue what they stood for, what their branding idea was, what their brand story was, what their values were. So I dug deeper over the years, and I got into more like the business strategy behind it, and I tried to merge personal development with business development, because I realized many people, when they start something, most of their innate fears get triggered, because suddenly you go out there, they want to do something, and they're really scared, and then they make weird decisions, and they don't listen to their consultant or their strategist, me, in that case. So anyway, fast forward, eventually I moved to the UK, lived there for a couple of years, had a good job. That ended eventually on good terms, and I started an agency called Purpose Driven. And that's Purpose Driven. Okay, should we put it on the other side, maybe? Let's see if that works. Me. What am I pressing? No. Can you read that? Meaningful communication starts where marketing bullshit ends. That's actually our website, or that's the hero image of our website. Hello, Arvin. I just realized I've got cards which I'm totally not using. Oh yeah. What led to Purpose Driven was a talk that I'm pretty sure some of you've seen, Start With Why, Simon Sinek. And Simon Sinek, anybody knows the talk, Simon Sinek, Start With Why, the book and stuff, a couple of people. He talks about that don't start with your what, but start with your why. That's totally cool, Arvin. You're on camera. And the Start With Why was, to me, really realizing what had happened with all my clients over the years. That most people that I work with, that it didn't get into the flow, that they had no clue what they were standing for. If you ask them, why you want to do your business? They're like, I want to make money. And money is a beautiful energy, I find. Money is great. I don't think it's a great motivator. It's one of the things, like, if you're thinking of a brand story and how to package something, how do you phrase, I want your money in a loving way to your customer so they actually like you and connect with you. So I dug into the whole thing about communication and how can you actually authentically relate with your clients, with your customers, whoever that is. And Purpose Driven was born. We met in Bali. I went back. I had a couple of projects, and they were all cool. We worked with different people, branding things up and then consulting them on their product-based businesses. And in a way, I developed a desire. I want something product-based too, something that's tangible, something that I can touch. Because doing web stuff is cool, building different things that are digital is very cool, but it's not. There's a difference to having something that you can actually touch. And we had a client that we met and we got along very well, and we branded one of her software companies, and we just started to hang out, and it was really cool. And she also had the desire to have a product-based business. And so that conversation kept going, and besides that, another conversation started going. We couldn't find good deodorant in Bali. And so it was like, okay. There was some deodorant there, but it wasn't natural. It had all questionable ingredients in it, and some of it was expensive, and it wasn't very good at the same time. There was one conversation, and then she was invited into an Amazon course. Somebody asked her, do you want to do an Amazon course? I got an Amazon business. Do you want to do it as well? So we had a conversation around that, and suddenly all those three things came together, very much unplanned. And was it there all the time, or did it just come? He was there. Okay. Ta-da! Bali Secrets was born. So Bali Secrets is a cosmetics company we produce in Bali, thus Bali Secrets. And we work with, by now we've got 2 suppliers, and one is a small family business. And we started off, before I started off, this is what we've got now, basically. Click. This is our lineup. We got 5 deodorants in the race. And 5 products, we're on Amazon. On a good day, this one is the #1 best-selling deodorant in the US. On a bad day, it's number 3. And all the other ones are in usually the top 50, top 40 on a good day. People like it. We got like 2,500 reviews, close to 3,000 reviews by now, within less than 2 years. And people like us. We didn't start like that. We actually started like this. It was one product, and it wasn't even like that. It was just like this. Yes, it worked. When we launched, it was a very simple thing. It was one product, and that was it. And when we had that bottle, and I designed that label, and looking at it afterwards, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I thought, like, I gotta show it, because does anybody know the quote by the LinkedIn guy? The LinkedIn founder, he said something, if afterwards you're not embarrassed by your first version, you've launched too late. If I look at it now, I'm slightly embarrassed by it, so that makes me feel good. So I said 2 years, it was less than 2 years actually, because we launched in September 2015, and by July, was it August? July 2017 this year, we were the #1 bestseller. We became Amazon's choice a while ago. And suddenly one morning I woke up and just checked Amazon, and it was there was the badge, #1 bestseller, and it was like, crazy. I was like, oh my God, the pressure, We're not #1 bestseller right now, so it's like, whew, the pressure is off. It fluctuates, basically. So, as said before, I want to make this talk about how we got there, not in the sense of like, 1 to 3 steps to do, but kind of like reflecting into the backstory of what really happened, because this is the formula. If you ask me what we did and how we got there, the answer is NFC, as in no fucking clue. Not at all. What I can sum up for you is a couple of points that I think that are universal, that really relate to anything that you do in the business world. Who's here who wants to start a business? That was my question I forgot before. Who doesn't have a business but would like to start one? Nobody. Oh, yes, one. Oh, you have a question? Or was it a... Yeah, okay. I think for anybody else, there's an update available. Yes. Where was I? Yeah, points. So the first part really is about the subtleties. Like for me, looking back to what happened, it wasn't the big things. Yes, we did an Amazon course. They taught us how the Amazon system works. And there was a lot of learning, and I'm going to go into detail that down the line. But right now, it's really about how do we get started? And it was, the first point is really partner up. A friend of mine, Dave, recently told me that he went to a seminar somewhere, and somebody talked about that as well. And said, like, when the winter comes, the lone wolf is going to starve to death, and the pack is going to survive. And it was really the four of us coming together, which made it much easier to go through the startup challenges. If you want to launch something and it's by yourself, starting anything is overwhelming. There's so many edges to it, there's so many aspects to it, and the question what to focus on, how not to lose yourself in details, how not to be a perfectionist, how not to put the pro in the procrastination. I used to do that a lot. So if you have a team, if you have partners, things get more challenging on one end because suddenly you've got human beings involved that you got to talk to and relate to, and they've got needs and they have ideas and you have your idea, and it's about sharing that. In this case, it really, like for us, so for me personally, it was great to have somebody else, because for us it was finding the idea and just discussing among us, having somebody to get feedback from, to get input, have a sounding board. It was things like, how do we package our deodorants? Finding that in China, how does Alibaba work? How do we get stuff from China to Indonesia? How does importing work? How does exporting work? What are duties? How does importing in the States work? How do we get our stuff to Amazon? What do we need to do to comply with the FDA? Like, you know, there was just like 3, 4, 5 things, and there was a ton of other things. If you do all of that by yourself, chances are you're going to be overwhelmed. If you've got a team of like 2, 3, 4 people, we're a team of 4, you can share those. If somebody feels overwhelmed, you can talk about it. You can share frustration with the others, and shared frustration is less frustration, I would say. So it's really the partnering up, and how to choose your partners is another point that leads me to the next one. Trust. It's one of the bigger points that I found out. Being able to trust your partners and being able to trust yourself, and how do you do that? Let me just. When it came for us, our friend that we worked with, the owner of the software company, we already knew her. Like, we is not the royal we, it's me and my partner who sits over there. We live together, so she's not just a partner, she's a partner. If you catch my drift. We knew our friend already because she was our client, and it was like we went from client relationship to a friend relationship, to a friendship, I think it's called. And when she came up with the idea of like, oh, let's do the Amazon thing, let's get something going together, which started as a pet project, she brought in a friend of hers, guy who had never met. I trusted her, so naturally I extended that trust to him. And for me, it was like I was working with that guy for 2 years before I ever met him. Because he lives in California, I spent most of my time in Bali. And all I knew from him is like his face up to here on Skype. And we spent hours together. We wrote emails, we WhatsApped, we did all of that. And I never met him. And there was this deep, deep trust that I can really rely on the guy and that he's not going to run off with anything. And it was magical, really. And for him, it was the same thing in reverse. Like, he was sitting in the States, setting up the company, setting up Amazon, doing all that stuff, while we were hanging out in Bali and playing around with the deodorant stuff. He didn't get to see or smell or feel the product before we had actually launched. He was one of the first people who ordered it off Amazon to actually see like what he just ordered 1,000 off. You know? And there it is. And he walked in faith for a couple of months with us, completely saying, look, guys, you know what you're doing. I'll trust you. And it's something, I don't think even we said it. You know, it was something that was just there. And I put the trust yourself and trust others. there's a reason. Is like, why are some people not trustworthy? How do you pick that? I believe that it's really like a gut feeling sort of thing. It's really like an intuition. Like, you know, if you feel somebody, don't get married after the first date. That's a good piece of advice, I guess. But it's also feel into it and trust. Just take that risk if it feels good at the time. If you can't trust other people, it's either because they're not trustworthy, and you know, if people say something and do the opposite or don't call you back for 2 months, they're like, oh, I was just busy, didn't feel like it. Don't. It might change even. Like, you know, it's not something somebody's not trustworthy for life. Somebody's not trustworthy for a week or two or a month or a year of their lives. People change. If you can't trust someone by default, the issue might be within you, and you might want to look at your own trust issue. It's usually somewhere in your childhood. Ask a good therapist about that. Or a coach or somebody. Figuring out why you can't trust people and then just taking that step. And it's really, I think it's collaboration and partnership is the next step. It's really going into that. Anything that's really big, that gotten big, came out of a partnership. And what helped us is doing personality tests. Roger, not Hamilton, what's his name? Hamilton, okay.
Yeah, he developed Wealth Dynamics, and this is basically how we built our business, because everything is connected.
Everything is connected, yeah.
Are you a creator?
I'm a star, as you can see.
Yeah. Okay. And Miraf is the Lord, and
we got a mechanic. And another supporter.
Awesome. Yeah.
So the idea of the Wealth Dynamic, and Roger Hamilton is is the founder. Like
he's the founder of our multiple $1 company, and the founder of this beach club and entrepreneur resorts. Yeah. So
the circle closes in a way. I wasn't paid to say that. It's really what happened. I read one of his books, and we did the personality test. It's structured like any other test, to be honest, but it's very specific to entrepreneurship. That makes it very interesting, and it's not that expensive either. And it's like, you know, you answer 40 questions, and then you basically have a diagram. On the bottom, you've got grounded people. On the top, you've got creative, airy people. On the right side, you've got the extroverts, like me. And on the left side, there's the introverts. And the idea is, if you have a business and you structure it with partners, you want somebody in every quadrant. If you ever worked with a bunch of creatives, take a room, put 5 or 10 creative people in there. You get loads of ideas, you get loads of enthusiasm, and you don't get anything done, because that's not their strength. And some people try to dig into, oh, this is my strength, therefore I don't recognize it, because things that are easy to me don't matter to me. So people have a tendency to dig into their weaknesses. They're like, I gotta show my dad that I'm a good accountant, although it's not what's really in my nature. For me, that's true. My dad wasn't an accountant, but for me, accounting, I know the basics. I'm not saying ignore that area completely. It's just knowing the basics, but Excel to me is torture. So it really helped us as a team to figure out what our strengths are and then really clearly define, okay, you're the creative part. I trust you in that area. Are you really good with numbers and strategy? Cool, I trust you in that area. And having that, it's called role-based leadership, where you, rather than having a CEO and a standard pyramid structure, you figure out what the natural qualities of your partners are, validate those, and then move along from there and say, like, okay, this is your area, you're good at that. If you need input, we can get you. If you have questions, ask us. But basically, you're the boss in that area. Once you've got your partners and once you trust each other, you want a product. Scratch what you know. How creative is that? It comes out of two things. They tell writers, write what you know. Rather than making up any kind of story, write what you know, base it on that, because then it's believable. And the other part is scratch your own itch. Rather than inventing an itch and trying to emphasize with something that you don't even know, figure out what's going on in your own life and fix it. And we've entered a very, very, very saturated market. Deodorants or cosmetics in general, it's it's full with stuff. And if like just logically telling somebody, hey, we want to launch a deodorant, so like, yeah, right, good luck with that. You know, nothing's going to happen. There's 1,000 out there, and there's a lot of naturals out there. We made it. We made it into that niche, and something happened. So how do we do it? It's based on a product, and we got a very good product. And I actually brought a couple of samples here, and I'm going to tell you afterwards how you can get some. So don't leave until the end, because you're missing out. So with the product, it helps if you get a good quality product. But what product? A lot of people ask me, so how can I find my product? I don't know what it is. So they're digging on Amazon, and there's different courses that tell you, like, find a niche that only has so many products, and then you see what are the sales of the top sellers, and a very strategic approach. And it's really, I think, the product that you're meant to sell, or the product that you're meant to do something with, is already in your life. It's something that you have a relationship with that mostly you're not even aware of. For me, deodorants, for instance, a friend of mine when I was growing up, she worked in a cosmetic store, and she gave me one of the really good deodorants, which were freaking expensive, but she had samples for free. So I used the Biotherm and all those kind of ones, like for $30 a pop. And then I tried a cheap Nivea one for like a euro or two, $1 or $2 for the Americans. And they didn't work as well. They didn't feel as good. So like very early on, I figured there's a difference in price, and somehow, don't ask me how and why, I developed a relationship with deodorants. It sounds like if you've got like a self-help group. Hi, my name is Martin. I've got a relationship with deodorants. It's not as bad. My girlfriend, she's not jealous of our deodorants. Although we've got a lot in our bathroom, so it's not that bad. It's not that sort of thing. It's just an affectionate feeling towards deodorants. I've got the same thing with toothpaste, so I'm not that weird, right? I like toothpaste. So it's something, the key word here is care, a product that you care about. And I know of other people who basically just do the strategic one. They find something on Amazon or somewhere else. They're like, okay, this product has this fault. Find somebody to fix it, and then offer something better. You scratch somebody else's itch if you're making a product that you don't really care about. And that can lead to some success financially. To me, success is not just the finances. Success really means to me having fun while doing my stuff and having a relationship, being able to care. If you launch something that you don't care about, and you start, for instance, getting customer questions or customer care, people are not happy with your stuff, there's only so many emails you want to answer in a nice way, but something that you don't care about. Eventually, that drives you over the edge of like, I don't care about this shit, and I don't care about my customers anymore, and I'm frustrated. And that's something you can see happening all over. So it's really about seeing that in your life, and it's usually something like, for instance, I don't have a relationship with dishwashing soap. I buy a lot of dishwashing soap, but I never buy it consciously. So what you can do is just watch. If you're interested in selling something or like coming up with a product, just watch yourself. It's simple self-observation of like what you care about, what are you fuzzy about. That's something probably that you can improve. And then somebody is going to tell you, there's enough toothpaste on the market already. I believe there's always room for it. If you come up with something that you care about, that means there's a value behind it, that means there's a story behind it, means it's authentic, somebody out there cares. And I think the world needs more smaller, caring businesses as opposed to the 3 big conglomerates that we have right now. Woo! Next. Once you got your partners, what do you trust each other? What do you got your product? Launch! It says underneath, listen to Nike. What's Nike's advice? Just do it, yes. Don't overthink it, don't procrastinate, get it out the door. We decided on, at the beginning of May, I think it was May 1st, 2015, we had 24 hours to make a decision whether we're going to sign up to that Amazon course or not. I didn't know that the third partner involved. I had just met the other woman, did a project with her, and we had like, what was it, 48 hours? I don't know. It was a very short time for him to make the decision, do we want to do this or not? We decided to do it, and so at the beginning of May, we made a decision, but that was it. At that time, we had no idea what product, what we're going to do at all, and the initial of for a short while we debated where we're going to start with the cheese grater. I'm very happy we didn't launch a cheese grater. Because coming back to what I said before, as like having a relation with the product and caring, I love Parmigiano and I love to use it, but my relationship with a cheese grater is, I want a good one, but that's really it, you know. So it's not something that I really care about. So I'm very grateful to have decided that we decided to do order on one. We, as I said, in the beginning of May, we had no clue what we were going to be doing. All we knew is like we're going to do something. May came, June, July, August. On the 10th of September, 4 months and 10 days later, we were live on Amazon. In between, we found the product. We tested the product, not on animals, of course not, cruelty free. We tested it on human beings, because they're cheaper. Which basically meant we had a couple of variations of different products, which we handed out to our friends, got their feedback, we tested it on ourselves. Eventually, we knew, okay, this hits the spot. The thing with deodorants, if it works in the tropics, if it works in Bali, you know it works elsewhere.
I was one of them.
Thank you so much. Short break.
Actually, one of your deodorants went to Russia at that time. Before you launched, it was in Russia already.
I remember that photo.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Russians high-rise and with the deodorant on the... That was you, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
cool.
me. Yeah.
See the circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was I? Launching. So yeah, in the time in between, basically, what else happened? Let me just see if I'm on track here. So what we learned along the way was, like I said, we had to figure out the product, we had to figure out the packaging, because we couldn't find any roll-on bottles in in Indonesia, so we went to China. Producing, of course, minimum quantity 10,000. Of course, we're going to get 10,000 roller bottles. Of course, we're going to stick the labels right on, because why wouldn't we, you know? There's a learning there. If you decide to launch any cosmetics, don't buy them with the labels. Have the labels separate. That's something I learned from that. What we did, though, is really just decide on what's really important to get it out of the door as quickly as possible. And for that, I recommend that you dig into like the lean methodology, like lean startup sort of stuff, or agile development, and there's a couple of others that really help to determine what's your minimum viable product, what you need to launch. We launched with one product, one deodorant with one scent, in one market, in one country, in one outlet. So it was the United States of America, Amazon, and that was it. Before that, I worked with people who, they're also in Bali, they produced here and they did like fashion stuff, they did handbags and things. They launched with 10 bags. And out of those 10 bags, 3 were really good. They were well designed, they still need a little bit of improvement, that's something you learn on the way. But the other 7 were sort of like the stepchilds, you know, stepchildren. And it just dragged on, because suddenly, rather than telling one story and doing, you know, your Instagram and Facebook and whatnot about one product or 2 products or 3 products, you got to do the whole thing for 10. You got to do a photo shoot for 10. Everything tenfold. And why do people do that? It wasn't the only. I'm not pointing at them because it's natural. A lot of people do that. They think, I got to start something, and we got to start with a minimum lineup of 5 skincare products, or 10 ideally, because otherwise nobody takes us seriously. This is complete BS. Out of 2 years and out of literally thousands of emails that we got from our customers, not a single one complained, I'm not going to buy from you, I only have one product. Nobody cared. Because all they did, they loved what we had, the one product we had, and that was enough. And that's the principle of Kickstarter, for instance. If you look at Kickstarter, people go there, or any crowdfunding platform, as a matter of fact. You go there, there's one product that people are promoting, and everybody loves. Not everybody loves every product, but it's in theory, it's one product, and that's enough to get you going. Don't overdo yourself. And in that way, you can really narrow it down to an achievable, accomplishable. Do you know what I mean? Scope, and just get it out the door. Listen to Nike. Just do it. Once you got it on the market and once you're out there, then learn. Then it's about, this is not in the wrong order, this is the perfectly right order. Learn the bare minimum to just get it out there. It means, like, in our case, find the packaging, get it into the country, have your bottles filled, know that you're doing everything right, obey the law, get it out there, get it imported, get it on the market, get feedback from your customers. Then learn everything else. Figure out all the things that are really important, and it's a simple formula. Know your stuff. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but know the basics. Until recently, like our company structure, we just recently launched in Europe as well, so we decided to set up a company in Europe. And I just did some research on, like, okay, where's the best place to incorporate and have foreign different nationality as shareholders included in your company. It's freaking hard in the US, for instance, because you're only going to have a C Corp and then you're double taxed, and it's all in States taxes are anyway crazy, by the way. UK, much simpler. It took me, I think, 5 hours and 1 hour to talk to my accountant that I really know a good chunk of what's involved in shareholder agreements, in corporation taxes, in dividends for foreign investors, for foreign shareholders, blah, 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 blah. I know it now. I'm not a professional, but it's enough to share something with you that sounds impressive, It's enough to say that. Corporation tax, 90% in the UK, foreign shareholders, no problem. That's something you can figure out. So it's really about learning that, and it's about asking people if you need something. And it's it's the same thing about Amazon. Do a course. I see so many people in, like, Amazon Facebook groups are like, I just launched my product. What am I doing now? Like, that's something you figure out before. It's a bare minimum. You don't need much to launch. Get your knowledge. Learn what needs to be learned. It's really about just-in-time learning. I like that concept. You don't have to have everything ready. If you got the feeling, oh God, I need to know everything before I launch, that's fear-driven usually. Like, you're afraid of making it wrong. That's where the perfectionism come in. It's very normal. It's something you just decide or work on to say, like, I don't need that. Let's move on. So things like taxes, legalities, your marketplace, even product stuff. 3 years ago, I did know very little about deodorants. Now, I know a heck of a lot about deodorants, and it just happened naturally. Natural deodorants. Ka-ching. Once you got that set up, tend your garden. And it's a metaphor that I like to use because a lot of people, I get complimented a lot once people figure out what we do and what happened. And they're like, oh my God, you've created something amazing. Oh my God, well done. And then I think back and say, like, oh, hold on a second, putting that into perspective. I didn't invent deodorant. I didn't build Amazon. I didn't create the supply chain. I didn't do any of that. All I did, I just hopped on to a lot of things, and I put my love and my care into it and my passion and my purpose, so to say. And something happened. And I compared with a garden. If you take a garden, it's basically a batch of dirt, and you take a seed and you put it in, and then there's water and there's sun. Eventually it will germinate, something will come up, it will grow, it will blossom, and you will have fruits. Does it even make sense to go to the garden and say, like, well done. This is your garden looks great, They've got nothing to do with the earth. They didn't tell the seed to open up and do its crazy thing and just suddenly rise. They didn't figure out how to turn leaves into light-producing or sugar-producing machines by just putting sunlight on them. There's a certain magic behind it, and I don't know what you believe in. Call it the universe, call it God, call it magic. Doesn't matter what you call it. There's some dynamic going on that is way beyond my personal understanding. I can watch it and I can see what's happening, but how to come up with that, I've got no freaking clue. And so when you look at your business as a garden, what can we learn from it? A, if you put your seeds into the winter, during winter, nothing's going to grow. There's seasons to business as well. It's figuring out what the seasons are. Because there's times, and it's different for different products, it's different for different markets. It's really, again, observing it, learning it. Do your research. That's something that comes before you launch. Knowing when to launch. The ideal time for putting a seed in is in the springtime. You can put your stuff in summer as well. Chances are that before the thing actually bears fruit, it's going to be frozen to death because you launched too late. So it's those kind of things. And chill. The chill part is really about a gardener knows how to relax. Any farmer, they put their stuff in and then they just step back and let nature do its thing. They tend to it, they garden it, they take the weed out. That's it. If you're the kind of person who starts digging into the soil after weeks, like, are the potatoes there already? No, putting them back again. People do that. People do that. They're nervous, they want it to bloom, and like, what are the fruits of the business? In that sense, it's money. And what we had was really the partnership, and all four of us, we had other means of income. Nobody depended on this project to do anything. Don't lean on your baby. It's like, you know, going to one of the little children, like, you gotta fix my what's called, my retirement plan. Grow up, you need to pay for me. Don't do that. Children don't like that. Projects don't like it if they're being leaned on and saying like, you gotta make me money now. Don't quit your day job. Have enough saving on the side, ideally for 6 months or a year. Best way to do it is really just go half time, go work a couple of hours, do something in a way that gives you confidence and trust that you can pay your rent, that you can get enough food, and that you can relax. Most people I know, including myself, when I used to be broke, I freak out because then I don't know how to pay my rent. I don't know how to eat. That puts me in a very scared sort of position. It's not the best place for any creativity or trust to happen. Because suddenly I'm driven by my survival instinct and by my absolute innate fears. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Fruitful soil to create anything. Don't quit your day job. At the same time, find the space to chill out and commit. Don't dig into it. Trust the process. Just do it. Something is going to come out of it. And we're coming back to the unplanned part here. Very often, like from my life, what I've learned, looking back, here's a big one. Had I always gotten what I wanted in my life, I would have massively shortchanged myself. Because the things that have happened were beyond my own imagination. Whoa, they happened like, okay, I'll take that. And that's a separate talk, I think, like talking about the limitation aspects of vision boards, for instance. You put on a vision board, like, this is what I want. What if something else wants to happen in your life that's way beyond just a car and a little fancy house, you know? So, tend your garden. How about that one? Whatever legal form you're incorporating in, don't be a corporation, be a careporation. And I think that's one of the biggest ones. What time is it? Just by how are we doing? Okay, cool. We're good in time. Care. I think that's the most important part. Like when it comes to marketing, for instance, with Bali Secrets, I think over 2 years we spent about $600 in marketing, and that were basically, I think half of it was wasted because we did 2 Amazon advertising campaigns. The first one we had no idea what we were doing. The second one we had a little bit of an idea what we were doing, but that was pretty much our marketing effort. We run an Instagram channel, which my aim was to launch a post once a week. Right now it's more like 2 or 3 weeks, but I want to get back to that, I promise. Facebook is there, and that's it. What we really focused on was making our marketing department our customer care department, or generally speaking, our care department. And it doesn't start with the customer, it really starts with your team and your staff. It's really about figuring out how to get people's needs met, and make sure everybody's happy. And sometimes that means that you have to argue and fight for something. But generally, it's like if you got a happy team and if you got happy staff, something happens, and you're in a very, very good position. And I give you an example, like what I said before. The first 10,000 bottles we ordered, they had the label on it because we didn't think that through. And after a while, we get the feedback from our customers that most of them liked the scent that we had, that our deodorant had. Others hated it. And there was basically 5-star reviews and 1-star reviews, not much in between. So we decided to launch more scents, different options for different customers. And that meant that we had to get the labels off our old bottles, which was a crazy process because they were paper-based and the glue was crazy glue. So we had to soak them in water for like a day, scrub them off with a brush, then take a sponge with oil, get the rest of it off, then they were oily and greasy, then wash them with washing liquid, soap, wash them again, and then dry them. We found somebody, I did about 100 bottles before I had blisters all over, so we hired somebody to do that for us. And the thing was, then it changed in strategy. Suddenly we had the bottles without something on it, and we had the labels. So for our producer, for our suppliers, their workload changed from what we had agreed in the beginning, because they used to basically just receive the bottles, fill them, seal them, send them. And suddenly they cleaned them, received them, filled them, labeled them, put an insert in, then sealed them. So it was like 3 extra steps. So we sat down with them and said, like, look, you're doing 3 steps more now. We want to pay you more. This is the minimum we want to pay you. And I was like, nah. Talk to the team. This is the maximum we accept. And we're like, no, that's not enough. We want to pay more. This is the minimum. And they're like, that's nice, but we don't accept more than that. So we had this weird, funny Balinese reverse negotiation where we're trying to force money onto our supplier, which they wouldn't accept at all. And it's like, okay, we found a way in the middle somewhere. We lowered our expectation there, heightened the expectation. And it's that kind of relationship you want to have with someone, where it's about really looking out for them. I believe with my whole heart and my whole being and everything around me and all my belongings and my house and the dog that I don't have, that there are no win-lose situations. It's either win-win or it's lose-lose. There's nothing in between. If one person loses, that's all it takes. Create win-win situation. That's really what care stands for. Like, make sure you look out for the people, make sure everybody involved gets something. And there are people out there probably who would talk me down now and say, like, that's not possible because commerce and what's called capitalism is evil anyway. I think it's a way of really, you can go out there and actually create those win-win situations, and it's just trusting it. And I can tell you from my experience that it works. If you look for your people, look out for your people. As a customer, I want that. When I hear those stories, I'm touched and I want to be in contact with that company because they share my values. And I want to be that company as well. The second care, good one though, is for your suppliers, your partners, logistics, whatever you're involved in. There's usually somebody else around you, like a satellite system of people that make it possible, what you do. When we started growing, we went to our logistics guys and said, like, look guys, we're growing. Do you want to grow with us? We want to step up our game, and that means, you know, be more on time, be more consistent with everything. We want to step it up. Do you want to grow with us? We didn't assume. It's very easy to assume everybody wants to get more business, of course. But the thing is, people get stressed because people have more work, they make more money, but then they're stressed. And it's an assumption that they want that. And I think it's a sign of respect and care to go to someone and say, look, we're growing, do you want to do that with us? And it's got an advantage as well, that if people take the decision themselves and they say, yes, I want that they made the decision. And it's something I can reflect back to. So like, look, this is not happening the way we wanted to go. Like, you made the decision. Like, you know, if you want to change the decision, that's fine. It's no problem. People change their minds all the time. Things happen. Life changes. That's cool. Just let us know so we're in clear. And so really look out for your people, everybody around you, like create those win-win situations. And the last care, last but not least care, is for the customers. Care for your customers. Forget your marketing department. It's nice to have an Instagram feed, and it's nice to have all of that. Care for your people. When people contact us, and a lot of people contact us, and sometimes it's just really we get people emailing us like how much they love our deodorant. When was the last time you emailed your deodorant company? Never. We ran out of stock a couple of times due to various reasons. We were out of stock for a month once. People emailed us like, "Where are you? Don't tell me you're gone out of business. Don't tell me you discontinued the product. Where is it?" Our mailing list grew from 300 signups to close to 2,500 signups in 6 months. We've got an opening rate of over 60% for every email we send out. 60% in the, what are we in? Skincare, cosmetic sort of area. I think industry average is like 10 to 20%, probably less. And people read our emails. People reply to our newsletters. People reply. But I write them personally. I write in person. We don't have any pictures. We don't sell anything. We just let them know about stuff and what we do. And they write back. It's like, "Thank you. That's cool." When people write in, it's like, "Oh, I don't like the scent." And sometimes people are really fierce about it. This weird everything. Like, "This smells like cat piss. This smells like old granny. This smells like the soaked curtains of a Las Vegas suburban motel." Those are quotes from either reviews or emails. And I just write them back, so like, wow, this is a first. You know, we've been called a lot of things, but the curtains of the suburban LA motel, this is a first. Thank you for your creativity. Thank you for letting us know. And I'm not being facetious about it. I'm being honest about it. I'm even tearing up now. No, I'm not. Something in my eye. When people don't like the product, we give them a refund. My goal is like, because I've been doing the customer service myself for the last 2 years, and that's something I recommend. Be in touch with your people. It's so easy to hire it out to somebody else, like, you know, somebody in the Philippines, pay them $300 and they take care of the emails for you because the emails are annoying. No, those are your customers. Be in touch with them, listen to them, reply in a decent way. Like, it's all about communication again. I've seen so many emails that I've received from when something went wrong and somebody wrote an email, it sounded worse than a teenager texting. And it's like, really, it makes me feel like, you know, I seem like a burden to that person on the other end suddenly. It doesn't feel good on my end. So when somebody writes to me, I want to really thank them from the bottom of my heart. You're taking the time to let us know. And I want to fix the situation. So like, look, if you don't like the scent, we've got others. If you don't like any of those, you can have your money back. Our goal is that you have a good experience. And if that means that, I don't expect everybody to love our products. That's another thing. That could be another slide. Like, not everybody will love what you do, and it's okay. When people ask us, we send them a replacement, and sometimes we take it back, and sometimes we just tell them all the stuff that we take back. For instance, like open the order and you can't resell. They all go to a homeless shelter, and they go to a facility that works with drug abusers, and it's something like, these kind of people, they don't care whether the thing has been opened or not. And so we do something with that as well. We don't check anything out. And if somebody says they don't like it, we send them a new one. And very often we say, like, look, keep it. Give it to someone who might like the scent better than you. In that way, the bottle gets a chance to fulfill its purpose. And it's not wasted, because we don't like things to go to waste. And people do that. And it's, again, a win-win situation, because the person doesn't have to send anything back. Somebody else is going to get a gift, even if it's a deodorant, which is, for some people, it might be weird. Some people like it. It doesn't matter. It's a win-win. Sometimes people just send us emails that are like, I love you guys. It's so cool what you do. I love your product. I'm telling everybody about you. All my friends have bought it, and you're so cool. I use that to reply. They're like, wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so cool that you're spreading the word about us. This is how we grew, actually. Letting them know what's been happening. Like, we didn't spend any, except the $600 on marketing. It's been pure word of mouth. People who are just talking to their family, friends, colleagues, everywhere, telling them about our deodorant. and these people buy. And so if people ask, contact us, are like, you guys are amazing, I usually ask them, do you want to become the deodorant fairy? And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, what if I sent you 5 free deodorants for you to just give to your friends, rather than just telling them about us? Why don't you give them one? And you wouldn't believe people lose it over 5 free deodorants, you know? And it's flattering. I love it because it's again, it's a win-win, because I get excited because they get excited. It's like this whole thing, plus 5 other friends get excited because they get a free deodorant. Everybody wins. Become our customers afterwards. So, care is, if I could do a talk just on that, and I think that's really the most important part. It's like, care for your partners, care for your suppliers, care for everybody around you, care for your customers. Do it sincerely. Price yourself in a way that you've got the time and the finances to do that. Don't go on price. Our deodorant costs $13.99 in the US, which is not the most expensive one. It's not the cheapest one either. There's deodorants for like $2 out there. People buy us. Our deodorant is good value. It lasts like 3 months if you use it once a day. It's really, really good stuff. So it helps, going back to the product part, have a good quality product, price it accordingly, make sure you got the margin to afford a good customer care team. I had experiences where people clearly underpriced themselves and they couldn't build any relationship because they didn't have the time or the money to do so, and they went bust really, really quick because people got annoyed. So it's really finding that sweet edge. Yes. And that part is really like the salt or the sugar on top, or the stevia, if you don't like sugar. Enjoy what you're doing. Don't take it so seriously. It's a game. I find it's a game. If you do what I said before, like, you know, taking the garden metaphor, and make sure you've got enough funds on the side, or you got a job, be playful. Do it in a serious fashion. Don't mock about. Don't not take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. It's finding that sweet edge of like really having fun while doing so. It's what I'm sharing with you right now. Like, my friend Rob and I here, we've got a little bit of a battle in the company. We share the customer care, and we're both improvisers. We do like improv comedy, and we've taken that into the way we write emails. And we got a little bit of a unspoken battle going on, like, who can write the funniest emails. And I guess Rob was on board for like 2 weeks, totally got what it's about, started to write an email. A woman, we were out of stock at the time. A woman wrote in, so like, oh, I'm probably the 1 millionth person asking when you're going to be back in stock. Please let me know. I really love your product. And Rob fired back this like, oh, Karen, thank you so much. If you were really and truly the 1 millionth person to write in, this would merit a celebration with like balloons and other stuff, and nobody less than Ricky Martin performing his greatest hits. So he writes into like what it's about, and in the end he finishes off so like, so if you need anything else about our product or anything, or just want to remember one of Ricky Martin's greatest hits, just get in touch again. We're here for you. The woman wrote back, so like, oh my God, this is the best. I didn't do it justice what he wrote basically, but it was. I started laughing. So the woman writes back and so like, oh my God, this is. I don't know why I'm starting an Indian accent now. I was like, oh my God, this is great. She wasn't Indian. Sorry, Andrew. Oh, it's you. I knew I could feel that. You're there. We'll talk after. I can also do the Russian accent, so it's no problem. So. Where was I? The woman wrote back in an email saying, oh my God, this was a great email. I love it. She turned out to be the customer care manager for another company, and she asked us whether she could use that email as a reference for training her staff. And we had, just recently we had what are called VCs, like investment company contact us, like, oh my God, we love what you built. Do you want some money? We was like, no, thank you. We had a woman write in, so like, I never write anybody, I never leave reviews, but I left you guys reviews. By the way, my mom just passed away. She left me a decent lump of money. If you're ever thinking of investors, can I? And it's that kind of thing that happens really. Like it's crazy stories. Like, you know, some of the reviews we're getting, people mail us in, like, you know, and telling us the life stories. So like, oh my God, I had cancer, I battled cancer, this, my sister has cancer now. And it's like people are opening up. We've got a follow-up email series. So everybody who buys gets an email, so we do that kind of thing, of course. And they're written very personally. And I'm being very honest, like we've got every one of them is different, little side story. So like you get a different email for your first, second, and third purchase. And the fourth and onwards purchase, they're the same emails. And rather than pretending it's me, hi, it's Martin again, like, you know, it's sent by a robot. And so we called it that. So like, hi, it's Tin. I'm the friendly communication robot. Like, you know, I'm just checking in if everything is okay. If you want something, need something, let us know and I'll pass it on to a human. Kind regards, Tin. Tin Can, communication robot. And people reply back, so like, hello Tin. How nice to talk to a robot. This is really cool. Tell the folks over at Bali Secrets that everything is fine. I really love their product, you know, and blah, 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 you know. And I just did a trial on that. I didn't know whether it would work or not, but it did, you know. And people love that kind of thing. Like, just there's a level of honesty and sincerity, and they're like, you know, don't try to bullshit people. They figure it out by now. It's like today we talked about whether we want to put a Facebook pixel on our website or not. Facebook pixel means like if somebody comes to your website while they're being logged on to Facebook, that you can then tell Facebook, put this ad, sponsored post, in front of these people because they've been to our page before. And I was like, how do I feel if that happens? It doesn't feel good. I feel like I'm being tracked. I feel like somebody's messing with me. It's like, I just been to your website, I probably just bought something, and now you're showing me the same product? Really? Is that who you are? So we came to the point of like, let's not use the Facebook pixel on our website and actually turn it the other way around, like let people know that we don't give a shit about the Facebook pixel, because we just might use Facebook in the future to advertise, but we don't want to retarget you just because you visited our site, because we give you that kind of respect and care and privacy, because I wouldn't want it to happen to me. Why would I target you that way? And by the way, I don't really like the word target audience anyway. There's all people. Do we have another slide? No, that was it, I think. Huh? Oh no, there's another one. Thank you. Ta-da, that was it.
We have a mic for all the questions. Do you have any questions?
Anybody who asks a good question.
Don't be shy, because he's here only for 1 hour more. Okay, you have a question. Okay.
If you ask a good question, you get a free deodorant. Think about it. I've got a couple here, so.
Wait a second.
You get a mic.
Thanks, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. How do you make sure that all your team are on the same page and have the same vision?
Wow.
Is that a good question?
That was a very good question. You get 2 deodorants for that. We got a torture chamber. We learned waterboarding. No, we actually wrote our vision down, and I didn't say it, but we wrote it down very simply. Actually, we had a meeting around that. We had some friction in the beginning because we weren't all on the same page. We were all on the same page value-wise, but the way we wanted to run the company, we were not on the same page. So we actually had a consultant come in, like, and sort us out in that direction. And that would led us to the role-based leadership, to actually accepting, okay, I trust you in that area, and I'm not going to step in, and I trust you in that area. Hey, Arvin. So that helped. And we wrote it down, and it's very simple. So, like, you know, Bali Secrets is a company that offers a small selection of high-quality natural goods made in Bali, produced by happy people who get paid fairly. And that is a very nice reference, because, like, whenever we pick something up, it's just like, because we produce, but now we just found another suppliers. We're digging into what they have, and they're doing some other stuff for us. And sometimes you see a product that you could technically white label, and so just read it and say, like, are the ingredients any good? Is it something I would want to use? Does it match our vision? Yes or no? We can talk about it. Otherwise, we don't even have to talk about it. And we do have friction. We do have conversations about things. We got weekly meetings. We take the time to talk about it. We have a structure for it where everybody gets time to talk, where everybody else shuts up. And then we've got a round of questions. We've got a round of feedback. We've got a decision-making round. Are we ready to make a decision? No. Postpone it for next week. Finding out the balance, what's urgent, what's important. Just using, there's a lot of tools out there, and it's work. I think that's more the harder part almost, to figure that one out. But it works. You can make it work.
That's awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
It can be a real challenge, and that's why I was wondering how you dealt with it.
Oh,
But I like the fact that you brought somebody in from outside, which is always a better way to go than trying to work it out yourself.
I gotta say, with all honesty, it was one of us brought the person in, so it was friction around that. We don't need anyone, and then it was actually kind of cool. So it's really about taking the time. We had regular meetings where we were just like, okay, there's something in the air, let's talk about it. And we had like 3-4 hour Skype sessions where everybody could just vent. And so and we're all pretty, I'd say, emotionally responsible. So there's very little blame happening. It's like, it's really like, I feel that way. This is what I perceive. So it's not a finger pointing. So it's really digging into nonviolent communication and just, taking responsibility for what I feel and see. And just trying our best, really. It's an ongoing process.
That sounds awesome, and I'm excited to see where you go in the future.
Thank you, me too. Please. No, she's going to come.
Thanks so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. I had a question. I know you shared one story, but how did you, when you went out of stock at one point in your career, how did you sort of balance not fading out into the customer mind, Because I think sending out emails is one thing, but also just making sure how did you keep that human contact, but virtual human contact, if that makes sense?
You get one deodorant for that question. I think we didn't make it into a problem. We're out of stock. That's it. It's again not taking it too seriously. It was painful sometimes, and there was moments where it's scary, you're not making money, and you're depending on it. And what happened really was the people came to us because we were the bestseller, and suddenly we were gone. And so people started asking questions on Amazon. Where are you? Why can't I order? People sent emails. Instagram, Facebook, we get targeted. Twitter, they're all over. And I think the essence is we didn't make it into a problem. It was just basic trust, because with the order rounds, what makes it easier in one way, if somebody likes it, they buy it again. So we got a lot of loyal customers, we got a lot of repeat customers, and trusting into that loyalty, trusting into what we've invested into our customers through our customer care, through everything I said before, there was that level of trust, it's going to be fine. Last time we went out of stock, we were out for a month or 4.5 weeks. It took, once we were back, Amazon, the way Amazon works, once your shipment checks in, it says out of stock, or it says will be available in it's usually a week later. And which is people can place an order, but there's going to be delay. Even on that day, people bought them already. We didn't tell anyone because we wanted to wait until we were actually in stock and available. Once we sent out an email saying people were finally back, we hit a record sales day and we were back to #1 within 24 hours. And I think it's that level of trust that people are gonna come back. And some people even emails I bought something else in between and I don't like it, please come back. And I think it reflects back to two things. It's just have a good product, have something that you love using. We ran out ourselves, and I was diluting my deodorant with water again and again and again, because I was in Europe during the summer and I didn't have access to any there. So I was damn it, I don't want to buy anything else. Have that kind of thing, that you care about so much that you can also when other people care for you, can care for those people who care for your product. So having that win-win spiral, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can phrase it in two ways. Who wants to ask another question, or who wants the deodorant?
Come on, guys.
The question was what made us choose the US as our market. It's, in terms of cosmetics, it's an easier launchpad, because in the European Union you have to have certain safety tests, not safety tests, but what are they called? Preservative efficiency tests and like other tests in order to get into the European database, blah, blah, blah. They're making it quite complicated, and we just went through that process. In the US, it's basically by ingredients. So you just look up your ingredients, and the FDA pretty much states, okay, if you use these ingredients, then you're cosmetic, you're fine to go. They're not regulated. If you use these ingredients, then it's a drug. You need a license. You've got to be regulated. It made that easier to say, like, especially launching a product that we didn't know how somebody would respond to. Plus, people are used to ordering online. Amazon has a big customer base there. So there's a lot of advantages around that. Plus, our other partner was there. So, one deodorant. Yes, please. Exactly, yeah. So the question is whether we imported empty bottles, filled them here, and then exported them, and the situation around importing and exporting in Indonesia. Exporting is no problem, because that's what every country wants. Importing is the challenge, and you just got to pay. It's just import duties that are high. There's an option to lower those through a program that basically, because we're importing to export, so it's just parts of it. So it's not like, we bring something in from the outside to sell it in here. So we just exclusively export. That makes it much easier. And the importing part is a challenge, I can say that, but it's possible to figure out. It's again something you want to learn. Please.
Just a quick one. Have you got any plans to expand into other areas within the cosmetic range?
We do. We're actually going to be launching...
Toothpaste?
Toothpaste. That's another story. I'm going to tell that. But for now, we're launching with an amazing body butter and scrubs. And what else do we have? A soap. So other things that we found here that really fits into our portfolio, if I can use that word here. Something that's really high quality, some products that I love using myself. Again, that's really a performance indicator for me. If I love it, then I can care about it. So yes, we're going to be launching. They're not. We don't have a company here, so we don't sell in Bali. Which our friends asked us if we were crazy because they were the ones who tested the product for us and gave us the feedback. And they said, like, yes, we launched. It's like, where can we get it? So like, Amazon.com. So like, but I live here. So we every now and again we hand them out, but we don't sell them here. Could be something for the future. I think Indonesia itself is a big market. About the toothpaste, I want to do toothpaste, and I've looked around for a couple of people, and I haven't found anything that is really good. And then I read Elon Musk's biography. Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, everybody knows him. Read the biography, is really good. Because it made me realize these guys, when they did SpaceX, like Tesla, he just got involved. Like the groundwork was done and he just added the sauce that really made it successful. But SpaceX, he started from the ground up with other people. And 3 guys flew to Russia to buy intercontinental missiles to trial what they wanted to do with SpaceX. And so it's these 3 nerdy, geeky looking kind of dudes, rock 20s in Russia, trying to buy missiles. Nobody took them seriously. They were laughing at them, and the guys went back in their chat and they're like, screw that, we're going to do it ourselves. So they found people who could actually, they created rocket propulsion turbines from scratch by just figuring it out. And what gave me hope is like thinking, if they can build rockets from scratch, they can fly up, come down, turn around and land, basically as a pet project, I can create a toothpaste. So yes, I'm going to create a toothpaste.
All right, more questions? No?
Who wants a deodorant? Who wants to smell it? Yeah, everybody wants it. Nobody wants to ask questions. Okay, cool. Do we use what? Palm oil? No, no, no. Of course. Our stuff is vegan. It's cruelty free. Of course, we don't test the stuff. There's nothing in there. It's basically edible. It doesn't taste very good. Gotta say that, but it's strictly speaking, there's ingredients in there that you find in first of all nature, but also in, you wouldn't eat essential oils, I guess, but like, you know, we've got salt, we've got aloe vera in it, we've got tiny bit of alcohol in it, we've got seaweed in it. It's basically all stuff that you can eat. So we're not strictly vegan. One of our new products is going to have goat's milk powder in it. It's going to be a scrub, which is really, it's not just, it's a coffee scrub, a little preview, but it's we call it deluxe coffee scrub because that's what it is. And that's pretty much the only product we will be having which is not vegan. Otherwise, they're all going to be environmentally responsible, I would say, or as much as we can. Please.
Yes, I was wondering if you've looked into getting listed on the EWG, the Environmental Working Group website.
Yeah, we're our ingredients are. We said it actually. Like all our ingredients are rated safe by the EWG. I think the alcohol is the only thing that has a 2, the ethanol, but we've got like 7% in it, so it's basically like using a teaspoonful of strong beer on your underarms, and you use it as a preservative. You can use other stuff as preservatives, so we take that. Pretty much everything else is rated as a 1, and it's a database that does the job the FDA is supposed to be doing, taking scientific tests that are being scientific studies that are being done around ingredients, and rating ingredients accordingly. And my girlfriend, she's a scientist, so not everything that's on the EWG is actually what it is, because some of their stuff is flawed as well. But I think it's a good reference. So we're working on getting certified by them now, and it's just a money game because they're charging like $2,500 per product. So it's really, do you want to do that? And it's like, it's a lot of money that goes into that. It's like spending 15 grand on just getting a badge. Yeah, let's see. But our ingredients are rated on there. Please, Brett.
Take us through the thought process from the packaging for sustainability.
The thought process around our packaging and sustainability. If I'm being very honest, we got plastic bottles. They're polypropylene, so they're recyclable. You can turn them, you can shred them and turn them into card parts. Whether people do that or not is questionable. I'm not 100% happy with the packaging as it is, I say it very honestly. It's one of the things that I would recommend for everybody. Have your standards, have certain standards that you don't go low on, and that would be for me like the ingredient stuff. You know, I don't want anything questionable in there. If I went out there and said like everything has to be perfect, I would never launch because I can't afford it. So in my head, what we're working on actively is refill packs. I haven't heard of a deodorant that actually offers that. So we have a cap that's the rollerball enclosure is removable. So we're thinking of finding some kind of biodegradable plastic that holds 3 refills, and in excuse me, and in that way, rather than buying a new bottle every time, you just refill the ones you have, and everything else we're trying to be, you know, paper paste where we can, and it's a compromise. It's something I want to definitely spend more time and money on. It's almost like a side project to find better alternatives for packaging. Right now, I'm sort of like 70% happy with where we are, and it's something that I care about though, and it wants to be reinvented as well. Please let me just get the thing away. the question is how our customers connected with us and how we defined our customers. If I'm being honest, we just put a product out there and they bought it. And if I live in Ubud, so if I go into the woo-woo direction and I say it's what goes around comes around. If something wants to happen, it happens. There's some things out there that don't make that there's no logic behind them. Crocs. Why is there such a thing as a Crocs flagship store? And not just one Crocs flagship store, but a Crocs flagship store. There's towns, there's cities that have several Crocs flagship stores. It goes against anything that I believe in. Somebody get out there. Birkenstocks, same thing. McDonald's, why, you know? So I believe there's somebody, McDonald's I'm questioning, but everything else I think somebody sent a strong message out there. So like, I want this to succeed, and it probably did. If you read books like, I don't know, Think and Grow Rich, you know, that direction sort of thinking. For us, I don't know. It goes back to NFC, you know, no freaking clue. We put the product out there. I think we hit the timing right. We did our homework in terms of keywords and optimization on that end, like the technical side of it, because we were on the front page for the search term natural deodorant within 72 hours. We were there without any reviews, so we called a couple of friends. So like, can you buy it? So we had like 3 reviews, and then we just had organic sales within a couple of days, and it was just going on from there. And who our customer was, I had no idea until we saw them. It's more like I'm not too much into the customer avatar kind of thing. It's more like I share values, people who care, I think. And we've got all kind of backgrounds, all ethnicities, all different religions. I just recognize the names, and people tell us that. Some people have like Christian quotes, some people have Muslim names, or like, is there such a thing as a Muslim name, like a Middle Eastern sort of sounding name or Indian sounding name. We got people from North Carolina. They write like we would expect people write in North Carolina, speak in North Carolina, and they're still cool. You know, we got people from Texas. We have a lot of people from California. I don't know how they found out about our product, to be honest with you. They did, and they like it. And I think if something, bypassing the woo-woo stuff, if I go back to physics and saying like the law of the conservation of energy, if you put something out there, something comes back. There's no vacuum. So I think if you got something that you really care about, that you really trust in, and it's really good, and it comes from a good place, something will happen. And that's the woo-woo explanation that I have, really. I don't have anything else.
Just very quickly.
You again.
Not a question. Well, I like the microphone, all right?
3 deodorants.
You've had the microphone all night. So look, I just wanted to say how wonderful it is to hear somebody staying true to who they are rather than trying to fit in with what society says we should be doing. And there's a huge shift in the way that marketing is happening, the way that business is running. And it's just really inspiring to see that you just ignored all the rules, pretty much. Seriously, you did. I mean, you said you had NFC. And, you know, most people have got this plan and they've got to go. To see you be so successful because you just trusted that this is right. You saw your vision and you went for it. I think it's absolutely inspiring. So well done to all of you.
Thank you.
Well done.